Okay. Simple interest is the easiest way to calculate an interest because it's just based on, it's just based on percents. Ooh. And time. And that's always in years. So that's the most important part about simple interest is that time is always years. So if you're given a time in months, you have to turn it into years. And based on the original. Okay, the hardest part about this chapter will be words again. All the new definitions and descriptions of all the new words. So the simple interest formula is very, very exciting. I is equal to P times R times T. That's our interest, principal, rate, and time. We also have A is equal to the principal plus the principal, rate, and time. So we have a few different things to define all these words. So, interest. Now, interest is a crazy thing that you have to be careful with. Interest is the amount extra. So that's the gain of the investment. So the I term when we're doing the math on this is the amount that the investment grew. How much extra money you got from putting it in an investment. Or if you were taking a loan, the amount of extra money you owe. The I term is the extra. And that's very important because it's not the other one. The principal is the original amount. The original or start. So whatever money you start with, that's the big capital P, principal, the original start. The next thing is little r, and that's the rate. And it's always as a decimal. So the hardest part is confusing interest and rate, because we usually say things like interest rate. And if I say interest rate, I mean R, not I. I is amount of money, R is a decimal percent. And that's where it gets tricky back and forth. A couple other ones here to finish it up. A is sometimes known as the future value, or basically the end, wherever we're calculating our total amount. What's the total amount of money we have now? Because we gained some in our investments. And I think that's all the letters I need to describe. Oh, and T. Forgot T. That's time in years. So it's always in years. It has to always be in years. So if you do a 6 months investment, that's only half a year. So you always have to do it in years. So this is the most important part. It's all the definitions. The rest is rather simple math, but it's all in the definitions. Sliding on, let's try a few maths. So we have $2,400 in a guaranteed investment certificate, GIC, 2.8 simple interest, paid semi-annually in a term of 15 years. Cool. For us, we don't care about this until lesson 2. That matters in the next lesson. Right now, we don't care. So we just care about the important numbers. What is the 24? So we're going to look for I, P, R, and T, right? We basically need these 4 letters to find out which one we're either gaining or losing. And I look through the question, and I'm looking through it and go, 2,400, what letter does that number best represent in this question? Is it the starting amount? Is it the gain amount? Is it my time? What is it? It's my original amount, so it goes with the letter P. So this is going to be 2,400. The next is 2.8, so I got to write this as 0.028 because I got to write it as a percent. So you got to make sure it's turned into that. And then the time in this case is just a straight 15 because it's already given in years. And so now this is the one I don't know. Throw it at the formula. which is 2,400 times the rate, 0.028 times 15. Just blast that through the calculator, and we get 0.0008. So the gain here is $1,008. That's how much extra you've gotten. So I want to add that here. That is extra. Right? That's the amount that you gained about it. That's not the total amount. You didn't have $2,400 and it turned into $1,000. You got $1,000 more. And so that's the future value button. So the future value you can also write as the interest plus the starting amount. So it's 1,008 plus the 2,400 you started with, and you get 3,408 in total. So that's the is usually a percent investment based on percent. You just take the I divided by the P, 1,008 divided by 2,400, and I get 0.42 or 42%. Because we know how percents work. We can do the percents. So just multiplying there. The cool thing is just that's what the rate of return actually means. And that's the 42% rate of return. We're just going to write down all the things we don't know. We're going to go, like this. Just I, P, R, and T. And I just want to know if I know any of these numbers. Maybe I'll write down A too, because sometimes I care about that. Okay, I see invested 20,000. That's a principal, right? The 20,000 right there. I look at the next things, pays interest, blah, blah, blah. Pays interest annually. We'll care about that later. We don't care about that word right now. That's the word for the next lesson. It grew to 29 in 375 years. That sounds like the end. So I'll write 29, 375 here, and that's my total at the end. Oh, it was 5 years. I can write that down in here. The rate, I do not know. And I do not know the interest as of right now. So right now I have two unknowns, and that's kind of scary because you can't do math with two unknowns. Which one is the easiest one to do first? Probably the principal, right? No, not the principal. The interest. I want to find out what the interest is.
Why is that easy?
Because I just have to figure out, I know that the total is equal to the interest plus the principal, right? Because remember, that's right, but I do know the total and the principal, so that's just a subtraction. So interest is equal to total minus the starting point. That makes sense, right? If I had 20,000 and now I have 29,375, how much did this investment grow? $9,375. So this is just going to be, that's going to write it down. That's too easy. 9, 3, now we have this ugly thing. So this is where we get to stretch your math brains. Because I start with this formula. This is the one that's given to you. But I don't know everything yet. I have no idea what this is. This is what I need to solve for. So we need to rearrange this equation using algebra to rearrange for I. Now it's not that bad because I basically take the other two and just divide. That's all we're going to do here. So we're dividing by a little bit of math here. Yeah, I probably didn't, unfortunately. We're going to divide both sides by P and T. Divide by P and T. So the R is equal to the I divided by the P and the T. So basically, if you don't want I, the shorthand here, if it's not the equation straight, it's always I divided by the other two. Right? What would be the solve for T? It would be I divided by P and R. What's the solve for P? I divided by R and T. It's whatever the other two are. It's always the same way around. I'll show you them all in a second. But now we can just finish this question. Back to this question, we're going to just go I, 9375, divided by 20,000 times 5. And remember, on the bottom of the fraction, you got to make sure those are tight in your brackets when you're typing them into the calculator. Otherwise, you'll end up multiplying the top by 5 by accident, which is a problem. So this is the math you want to do. I think the answer is, because I did it last year, 0.09375 or 9.4% as like rounded. Because normally we want to say the rates as percents, but when we're doing them in our equations, they have to be written as decimals. We'll start with, I know the principal is 4,000. The next number, A, is 8,000. I also know the rate is 0.08. Time is something I do not know. What does I equal? It's 4,000, right? I don't need to show you the math on that one. It's not written in the question, but we have to remember that I is the amount of gain. How much did it change over time? It changed by 4,000. If I take 4,000 and turn it into 8,000, it went up 4,000. That's the whole game there. So now I just want to take my equation, I is equal to P times R times T, and rearrange it so T is all by itself. What should it equal? Any guesses based on the previous example? It's going to be I divided by the other 2. That's always the way this equation rearranges. If it's not the first way, then it's I divided by the other 2. That's how it always works. So I in this case is 4,000, and this one is going to be 4,000 times 0.08 on the bottom in this case. So now it's just a matter of mathing this. This number divided by this number should be 12.5. In this case, 12.5, what? What is it measured in? Days? How long? 12.5 watts though? Hours? Seconds?
Minutes.
It's not minutes. What is time in an investment always measured in?
Years.
Always years. So it has to be in years.
You were not so good off.
No, your minutes guess was not excellent. The assignment here was numbers 1, 3 through 7, 10, 12, and 15 on the handout I gave you yesterday.